What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're going to be having a look at the medal exchange, which is going to be updating moving into the month of August. So with this new update, it introduces a pretty nice array of characters. Now, I'm not 100% sure who actually made this infographic. It was either Godot or Matt on the One Piece Treasure Cruise subreddit Discord, so shout out to those guys. But this is a pretty interesting list. Last month it was just okay, but this one there's actually quite a few good characters that you can pick up from this medal exchange. And we know moving forward into the future, when the Japan and the global releases will get synced at some point, I think medal exchange will also be something they may need to address as well. Is that going to be different between global and Japan as well? We don't really know. But anyways, let's just talk about the one that's coming for this next upcoming month. Now, it goes without saying that you should only really be buying the characters as you need them, or right before the next monthly reset, because there might be next month, the month after that, moving into September, that new medal exchange might be really crazy, and there might be a character that you really want to get your hands on. So if you don't have a lot of medals, you should probably save them until the end of next month, until you want to go ahead and use them, or if you need the character halfway through the month, you can go ahead and pick them up, or do whatever you want with the medals. But I just want to give you guys a little bit of insight and my advice as to where to be spending your Sugofest medals. Okay, so we have the 400 medal tier at the top with Sugar and Super Type Katakuri. Now, I feel if you don't have any Int Super Type characters, Katakuri is not a terrible choice, but you do have to remember that we do have a lot of really powerful Int characters still to come. Legend Bonnie, Legend Marco, Whitebeard versus Shanks, a lot of really powerful Int characters coming up. So, do you really want to pick up Katakuri still at that point? I mean, he is still very good in Kizuna clashes, being able to use his Super Type to get a guaranteed 2x conditional. That's really good. You got Sugar as well, who still sees a lot of play, still a very good legend. If you don't have Sugar, not a terrible choice to pick her up for 400 medals, is able to cheese content with her toy soldiers to bypass certain debuffs on your crew, don't even need to bring certain utility at some points. So I do really like Sugar. I used her to clear a lot of recent content. She's very strong. Katakuri, you're not going to use as much, so I definitely think Sugar is the better investment, but I don't think Katakuri is a slouch either for 400 medals. He's still pretty strong. Moving on now to the 250 medal tier, we've got access to Douglas Bullet, who's going to be debuting for 250 medals. I think this is a bargain. 250 medals for Bullet is very good. Obviously, that's probably the best place to put him in terms of his value. It's just the big problem with Bullet is his special ability becomes less and less useful as time progresses because of normal attacks only and its prevalence in the game. Normal attacks only really has rendered a lot of characters, I wouldn't say useless, but I'd say less viable, and Bullet's definitely one of those characters. But the great thing about Bullet, one of the great things they cannot take away from him, is his very good captain ability. So he still provides 4x boost to strength, quick, and int characters, but then he himself gets a 4.75x boost and is super effective against all types. That's always going to be good. Of course, you need to farm his super evolution skulls from unlockable quests, but still, this character, man, with his super evolution is so good, and the fact that any time they release another powerful strength, quick, or int legend, Bullet can abuse it in some way, right? Typically, he can abuse it. There's been a lot of good driven support recently, which this character also can abuse. So if you don't have Bullet for 250 medals, I feel like it actually might be worth it to pick him up. And then right beside him, you've got V2 Big Mom in her dual unit form with Prometheus and Zeus. This is a character that doesn't see that much play anymore. She was usually pretty good in the Kizuna clashes, but there's definitely better units you can use nowadays. But still, if you're above 50%, you get her Chain Lock, and she gives you the base attack boost as well. If you're using her as a sub as well, her switch effect is really nice because she provides herself a matching slot and boosts her own attack and orbs by 1.5 times. So just with her switch ability alone, giving her the orb and all of those boosts, you're actually able to get a lot of damage off just with her attacking every single turn, activating that switch effect. So if you are playing like the int 10-star difficulty GARP challenges and you are lacking a really powerful unit to help round out your team, V2 Big Mom's not a terrible choice for that. Right beside her, though, we've got V2 Zora, who in my opinion is not a character you should be wasting 250 medals on. He should be 150 medals. I really don't understand why he's in this tier. Capone, also 250 medals. I don't think he's worth picking up at this point. And Whitebeard and Marco, I mean, he's a really old legend now. I don't really know if this is worth 250 medals. I wouldn't suggest doing that. I would rather advise you guys to conserve your medals at that point. I'd say if like Whitebeard and Marco and like Zora were the only like legends you're missing at that point, yeah, go for it, but Like, no, you just don't need to go ahead and pick up these guys for 250 medals. But then for the 150 medal points here, this is pretty interesting. We've got Judge. Now, Judge with his limit break expansion is actually a really good captain. But I mean, we're not talking about his limit break expansion because most people are not going to limit break expand Judge. But 150 medals for Judge is pretty good in his regular Psi form. So prior to his super evolution, he has a good special where he gives your crew a 2x orb boost and he reduces bind by 7 turns. For a sub, just to have access to a special like that, that's pretty good. So you may want to go ahead and pick him up, especially if you've only got one copy of Judge and it's like a super evolved copy. Definitely keep both versions of Judge around. One for his Psi 6-star form and one for his Int 6-star plus form. Definitely advise doing that. And for 150 medals, you can't really go wrong with that because you never know when you're going to need it. You got V1 Sanji here as well. V1 Sanji is just severely outdated. You just do not need to go ahead and pick this guy up. His support will sometimes come up, but he's just not a very powerful unit. Hody Jones next to him as well. I don't think Hody Jones is a very viable unit to pick up either. I know that with his limit break expansion, he does actually get a much better captain effect. But again, like, is he going to be that go-to character you're always going to use? Absolutely not. He's okay, I suppose, as a sub, damage reduction, cooldown reduction. He does a little bit of damage as well, but I mean, overall, Hody Jones is a relatively underwhelming unit. Back in the day when we're trying to speed farm Fortnite dungeons, he was pretty good for that. But I mean, like, in today's day and age, in 2021, Hody Jones is never a character that you see used. V1 Fujitora, you know, with his 6+, has a very interesting captain effect, especially if you go ahead and expand it. But if you're going to go ahead and limit break expand any of these 150 character tiers, 150 medal characters, Judge would be the one I would choose, but I wouldn't suggest limit break expanding these characters here anyways. But this guy's pretty outdated. He is a driven captain, I guess. So if you legit don't have a driven captain, this guy might not be an awful choice. But again, I think it is an awful choice, because I just don't think this character is that good. And the final character is Jinbei, the old school V1 Jinbei, who in his regular 6-star form is pretty bad, but upon super evolving is actually pretty good, allowing you to remove 5 turns of blue shield and 5 turns of rainbow shield in one special ability. Also, fighter characters on your crew will get a matching slot. He does a bit of damage as well. I think Jinbei's also a pretty good pickup for 150 medals. So realistically here, there's only a very small array of these characters that I would really advise picking up. I think Sugar for 400 medals is a good call. Katakuri, I guess, is up to you. If you already have some other really good Int characters, and specifically Int super type characters like any of the Halloween legends like Halloween Law, Halloween Mihawk, if you've got those guys, you probably don't need Katakuri, but he, as I said, his conditional is really good in Kizuna clashes. I think Bullet and V2 Big Mom are pretty decent pickups for 250 medals. I think they're priced quite appropriately, especially Bullet. He's a really good pickup for 250 medals if you don't have him. The rest of them not so much. And then for the 150 medals, there's only 2 characters here that I would probably advise picking up, and that would be Judge because of his really good usability in his 6-star and 6-star plus form, but also V1 Jinbei with his amazing utility special. So if you lack some of those good defensive buff removers for the enemy, Jinbei's a pretty good pickup as well. He is a powerhouse unit, so he has pretty good synergy with some of the more recently released batches. So that's it, guys. That's pretty much it for the rundown of the brand new Sugo Medal Exchange coming up on Global for the month of August. But as I said, you should probably wait until the end of the month or until you specifically need one of those characters to go ahead and pick them up so you can conserve your medals as best as you possibly can. And if you do decide to pull during the month, you never know, you may pull one of these characters that could potentially be featured on one of the upcoming banners. But that is going to wrap up this video today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this one, and if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.